What is up, guys? Today I'm here with Augusto Vegas, the founder of Survival Apnea, and we're going to talk about why breath holding is beneficial, because until now my channel has always been about how to hold your breath longer. Today we're not going to talk about this. Today we're going to talk about why you should even hold your breath. I mean, what's so good about breath holding, guys? And at the end of the video, Augusto will give 3 executable short tips on how to fight stress, something you can directly implement into your life right now. If you're new to this channel, my name is Gert Leroy, helping you master freediving. Augusto, good to see you back, man. It has been a while since we did a video. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Gert. It's great to see you and connect.
You're welcome, and I'm happy to have you here. So let's kick this off straight away. What is good about breath holding, and who should practice breath holding?
Well, first of all, a breath hold is a very powerful tool, for any human that understands how to use it to their benefit. So a breath hold, it doesn't matter if someone can hold a breath for 5 minutes. Let's say they could be very fit and they can push themselves to hold a breath 5 minutes. But if it's just a party trick or a record, it doesn't mean much for a person in the day-to-day life. When I teach my students, I tell them, guys, I'd rather have you hold your breath for only 2 minutes rather than 5 if you know how to use those 2 minutes skillfully. And by this, I mean they understand how to work within the breath hold, because a breath hold can be a very powerful space for an individual, provided they are aware, they understand how to work within the breath hold to develop skills of value.
Yes. So today we're going to try to steer a bit away from the numbers, like how long can we hold our breath, and we're going to try to understand what is truly happening.
100%. So let's say you are at home, you're lying on a yoga mat, you're practicing a static in a pool with supervision, or simply you're lying in bed and you want to try something out of the blue, and you take your last inhalation, or through a nose, it doesn't matter. What is the first thing that appears, that happens in a breath hold? That is that there is stillness and there is silence. So stillness and silence are things that the average person lacks of nowadays. So a breath hold provides you with those stillness and silence. And with stillness and silence present, one can start seeing within. So right there, you create a space for self-analysis. And I like to refer, with a breath hold, you put yourself in a position where you can start developing self-awareness. You start to recognize, hey, I am someone that tends to build a lot of muscle tension around my neck and shoulders, or I am someone that can never stop thinking of problems or worries, or I am someone that is always anticipating to what's coming. In the breath hold, you can realize, it's a breakthrough moment. Hey, actually, I thought I knew I was someone relaxed or that knew what relaxation is, but now I'm realizing that when I'm in the breath hold and I am silent and I am still, my mind is not stopping and my body is holding to a lot of tension.
Stillness and silence, I like that, because in everyday modern world, we're always stressed. There is so much going on, so much impulses. So a breath hold actually gives us an opportunity, a space, like you call it, to be in a different world, which you call stillness and silence. And that gives you the opportunity to analyze.
Yeah, you summarized it very well. So that's one, stillness and silence. Next, a breath hold starts very easy. There is no challenge, but eventually it leads to the appearance of discomfort in the body. When we cut the breathing cycle with the breath hold and CO2 levels start rising, as some of you might already know, discomfort starts to appear. And we could refer to this discomfort as stress. So a breath hold will result eventually in stress within the body. Now, the cool thing here is that you are already in the space of stillness and silence. And then in slow motion, stress starts to appear within you. The cool thing here is that we are not doing the breath hold to stress you out and make you suffer, but we are doing the breath hold to provide you with an opportunity to build your skill at dealing with stress. So there are a lot of tools that someone can play with to deal with stress. So let's say the breath hold is starting to get uncomfortable, eventually overwhelming, and you tried this trick that a friend recommended to handle stress better. And it maybe worked, maybe it didn't work. If it didn't work, no stress, you start breathing again, you recover, and then you try another breath hold, and then you try maybe a meditation technique that someone recommended, and you realize, you know what, with that meditation technique, I could deal with the discomfort of the breath hold much better.
Yes,
Okay.
and so these meditation techniques, that is what we discussed in the previous video. The link is in the description, how to static apnea tips and tools for beginners.
So a breath hold gives you very easy access to a classroom where you can practice stress management techniques.
Yes.
Now, the cool thing of this is that, let's say, over a few days, weeks, months of practice, you master stress management within the breath hold. Okay, great. Your breath hold time is going to start lengthening. Now, the interesting thing is that once you understand why that meditation or stress management technique worked, you'll be able to make the correlation, the connection, the bridge to how you can manage stress in life in general. So, for example, the tricks that I use to manage stress in a breath hold, if I am not moving, are this, and that. But if I am spearfishing, there'll be other tricks. If I am surfing, there are other tricks. If I am doing sports, there are other tricks. If I am riding a motorbike and I am worried about something that's coming in my life, there are other tricks. We have the same blueprint. So basically, a breath hold allows you to understand this blueprint that we possess as humans. That basically are tools to manage the mind and the body when exposed to different stressors in life.
Interesting. I love it. So we are using breath holding as a tool to become comfortable with higher levels of stress, so we can actually use this in daily life.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can give you an example. In breath holding, we tend to use a lot of visualizations or focusing on the surrounding environment, sensations, sounds, and they work very well in a breath hold. They're going to help you to navigate through discomfort. I like to refer to this also. They are tools that help you cultivate presence, being here in the moment.
I think that's a problem in modern life. I mean, I'm always keep referring to modern life, but there is a lot of people who have problems in being in the moment. So when you are able to cultivate presence, what is the benefit of that? Why should we strive to cultivate presence?
Because our minds are an extremely powerful tool. We are, let's say the only animals with a brain so big that can learn so many things, that has led our species to where we are today. And one of these positive things the mind has is that it allows us to create abstract scenarios. It allows us to plan ahead, to run a scenario many times in our mind. Oh, what if I do this? This might happen, and then this could happen. So you know what? I am better going to try this. If I try this can happen, then this will result, etc. Oh, wait, there is a third option. The mind can allow us to play scenarios within us before taking action, which kind of help us to prevent bad decisions or prevent failures. But it has the downside that it can make us overthink. It can make us anticipate too much to what will actually happen. And sometimes, especially in modern times, where there are so many abstract concepts, money, for example, there are so many things going around that could or could not happen, that if you combine that with the own nature of our mind, suddenly this mind could be working against us.
Yes.
You can have people that are overthinkers, and they overthink too much, or they are stuck in a moment and will never take a step forward because of the fear of what could or what will happen.
We live so much in the future that we forget about the present, and that is exactly what you're talking about.
Correct. So when you realize that being present allows you to better performance, you were like, hey, my body was telling me I had to quit, my mind was screaming, but I held on to this presence technique, and I was able to navigate through all those storms, and I managed to reach a PB. To give you an idea, No, an example. So sometimes, let's translate this to a real life scenario. No, you have a beautiful project in mind and you are thinking too much about it and you're like, oh my God, I think it's too risky, and you never make the decision. And if you were a bit more present, you realize, oh my God, this is anxiety. These
Yes.
emotions are not allowing me to think clearly.
I
Or
love
maybe
that.
I should allocate only 2-3 hours of my day to work on this project, but then I'm going to do something that allows me to enjoy my day. So I can make a
Yeah.
balance of energies. No, and you'll be able to make those decisions if you have good awareness. No, if you
Yep.
have not good awareness, you could spend your full day fully anxious, worried, and then you don't sleep properly, you wake up tired, you enter a vicious circle. But if you have good awareness and good tools to stay present, then you realize, you know what, this is a challenge, this project is a challenge. So it's normal, it stresses me a bit, it worries me a bit, but I know that for my health, I need to draw a line. No,
Yes.
after that time has arrived, it is time for me to invite other energies into my body, my mind, because it is good to have fun in a day. It's good to see friends. It's good to enjoy food.
What you're saying is that breath holding is cultivating the awareness that most people are actually lacking. So one of the most famous quotes from Umberto Pellizzari for freediving is scuba divers look around and freedivers look inside. So this is what you're talking about, the awareness that through the practicing of breath holding, we are starting to understand what is truly happening and where our emotions come from. And when we understand that, we can better deal with them.
100%. No, for example, you could be a runner. You know, you're running a race and you are about to slow down. You start to think, my body's actually hurting. I'm out of breath. I cannot do it. Maybe that's lack of awareness. Someone with a bit more awareness, more self-connection, a stronger head. Now, I remember in my running years, I'll start talking to my body. I'll check with right leg, how are you doing? Left leg, how are you doing? I'll check with my whole body, and then I'll realize, like, I'll go into my heart, to my breath, and I'll realize, bro, I can keep going. I can actually build up speed. I don't need to reduce speed. But if it hadn't been for that moment of very intense, sharp presence with good self-awareness, with good tools of mind control, I wouldn't have given my 100%. No, so it can hold
Yes.
also a great carryover to sports.
So it is by practicing breath holding that you step by step become more comfortable with uncomfortable feelings. The way you learn to deal with this in breath holding, you can translate that into daily life, in stressful situations, in business life, or in sports, where you also can experience stressful moments. But because you are a breath holder, because you're skilled in breath holding, you know how to deal with this stress better.
That's it. You know, and if I was to, let's say, summarize everything with bounce, first of all, see the breath hold as the space, the classroom. All right, that's one of the things, one of the aspects a breath hold is beneficial for. A breath hold provides you with a classroom. Mm-hmm. Number two, a breath hold allows you with many opportunities to practice different tools. So you have the classroom, you have the ability to try different things, so you understand the blueprint that we all possess to manage stress, and then you can actually address the stressor effectively. Or you can learn to deal with situations that can make you anxious, that can make you scared, that can even lead to panic. Those are the three ways in which a breath hold can be of benefit to any person who wants to get to know themselves better and to make the most of every moment in life.
For people who are suffering from stress in business environments or in performance environments, how can people deal with this through breath holding or through the tips you gave in this video? Can you round up by giving some very specific executable tips on how to deal with stress in those situations?
First of all, I want people that feel you're suffering from stress to start building your skill at entering relaxation states. This is prior to a breath hold. So I want you first, don't rush into the breath hold yet. First, I want you to become familiar with what deep relaxation feels like. And for that, a very simple trick is just to lie down flat and breathe softly in and out through your nose, paying attention to the air that comes in, making a short pause, less than a second, exhaling it effortlessly for 2 or 3 minutes. No, I want you to become familiar. Okay, this is what relaxation feels like. This is what calmness feels like. Why? Because once you are in the breath hold, you're going to start in a state of calmness. Yes. And that challenge of the breath hold will eventually start challenging that calmness. No, which is where you're going to start applying your techniques to protect your calmness, even in the presence of stressors. So tip number one is to become familiar with what deep relaxation, deep calmness feels like. And for that, a practice of effortless, soundless, silent breath is a very, very easy way to get into.
Okay, you have a tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is once you've become familiar with what calmness, deep relaxation feels like, it is time to apply it in the breath hold. No, so you're going to start practicing different tricks within a breath hold and seeing how your breath hold progresses over time, how effective your tricks are. But the same way you try to do that in the breath hold, don't wait to also try out things in life. An example, there was a friend, he was going to, let's say he decided to fight in box, no, like to commit to a boxing fight. And one of the things he shared with me was, bro, like I'm getting pretty anxious with the idea of the fight.
Yes.
So I said, oh my God, if you're training very hard as a fighter, the anticipation is starting to eat you up. You cannot sleep properly when you're training hard. No, it's not a good combination. So one of the things I recommended is when you're lying in bed, start breathing very, very gently and just focusing on the air that comes in, the air that goes out, and on all the sensations that your body feels when you're lying in bed. Basically to stay present in bed and not allow the anticipation of the fight attack you when you want to chill out. That is one. Another tip that I gave him, that came hand in hand, is change the perception of what that fight is. If you look at a boxing fight as a space where you're just gonna be potentially hit and hurt by your opponent, no, of course, who's going to like that? But if you see as a boxing fight as a great opportunity to test your skills, as a great life experience that one day you could share with your kids, for example, finally, that change of perception immediately will change how you're perceiving the whole experience. So maybe it stops becoming a stressor, and it's not longer a thing that you are stressing about or anticipating, but something that you've managed skillfully to switch into something that is exciting.
Yes, I love it. So change of perception is all about mindset, how you look at things that are happening in your life.
For example, when I'm going on a deep dive, I'm free falling. If my perception is I am sinking deeper and deeper into a very dangerous place, which could potentially hurt me, then of course it's not enjoyable. No, I'm like, but if during my free fall, I am thinking all I need to do is enter the ideal energy state so that the ocean opens the gates for me. All right. So right there, I'm fascinated. Oh my God, that is so cool. I want to enter the ideal energy state, which is a skill, so that the ocean opens the gate for me.
So it's you yourself who decides how you want to look at certain events that are about to happen in your life.
Correct. Okay. If I was to give a third tip, is don't be afraid to start practicing these techniques on a day-to-day basis. Just find moments, pay attention to how you're feeling, realize if it's an energy state that you like, that will allow you to live your moment to the fullest, or if it's an energy state you'd rather shift from. So it all starts with awareness. Start paying attention to the energy states you allow to enter yourself. And based on that, then you realize, I want to stay here or not. Do I like this energy or do I want to push it away?
Cultivating the present mindset and not thinking about numbers, but using breath holding as a tool to fight stress, to become happier. Hope you enjoyed this video. Peace in every breath.